It works. Okay.
Victory!
Ba-ba.
Now your brain can't help but finish the rest of that.
It's true.
I started to make that my island theme, but okay.
Oh.
Noah was
Mine
trying
is
to do
Eyes
the.
on Me from Final Fantasy VIII now.
Haku,
Got
you
the
don't
last
need
like
any attention.
Is there a way to create a faster version of the island theme? Because Noah was trying to do the Undertale Metroidvania, but it was like too slow.
Mm.
You can't speed it up, no.
Yeah, you can't speed
There's
it up. You can slow it
no
down, but not speed
tempo
it up.
change.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate.
Okay.
It's like Eyes on Me doesn't work quite right, but it's close enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
We're all here.
Yay, victory!
Yay!
Cool.
So we are.
We left off going to talk to Leah, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It is the 22nd of Duale. You've returned from the Shadowfell. You're taking a brief break at home.
I forget how much we actually reconvened as a party.
We all gathered. Yeah, we all gathered at the when people were doing the last little bits at the onsen, and then we went to talk to a couple people and like Sue.
We haven't talked much.
Yeah.
The idea was gather your party and venture forth
Exactly.
to Leah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who is part of our party but is not with us
Right.
yet.
3 houses down.
All we really talked about so far was just the stuff with Leah's mom. We haven't really sat down yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just saying as who was.
Yeah, we
in
all
the same
got
vicinity,
together
not
except for
really.
Leah to talk
Yeah.
to caretaker.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a couple people like branched off very briefly, but I think they were going to meet back up with us to go to Leah. So it was
Right, because Elias went to Suhi.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the
he was on the-
idea was
catching up.
everyone meet back up before we meet Leah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was what we had said, yeah.
It is late afternoon. It is warm. There's yellow golden sunlight filtering in through the canopy. It is pleasant. You can hear the sounds of birds and other animals moving through the trees. The people of home are going about their daily lives, greeting you with warm smiles. And there is not a single undead monstrosity, horrific aberration within who knows how many miles.
Yay.
It's kind of surreal given what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I mean, not counting the strange thing that's infesting the small right now. But other than that,
there's exactly one. There's exactly one thing. It's an important one, but there's one.
Right.
One aberration tadpole.
Worst Sesame Street ever.
This is like Sesame Street. It's very peaceful and calm, except for that one thing.
Right.
Well, so we head to
it's kind of
Leah's
like,
house.
who wants to start off?
Yeah.
We head to Leah's house.
Yep.
All right. I don't. The doors might not even have locks here at home.
I mean, Wirya would
I'm not
probably
sure.
knock.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Probably.
Do they even use doors?
Yeah, unless there's no door. Like,
Right.
if doors
Just
exist,
full Japanese. It's just a sliding thing.
Right. Could be that way. Yeah.
A curtain.
Yeah.
Leah, are you in with your mom, or are you sort of sitting out in the front room with your father when you hear a knock at the door?
Actually, I think that Zealous would probably use the message brooch to just say, Leah, would you mind stepping out?
Okay.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. If
So then, yeah. So then. Did you find anything?
Maria looks at Velas.
Not yet.
We found a lot of possible things, nothing specifically that's guaranteed to
Nothing
work.
concrete
Exactly.
I think that is.
Got a lot of leads. But we thought that you should know exactly what is going on with her.
You know more?
A little. I didn't bring it up because we're going to fix this. But they're trying to turn her into one of them.
How?
Parasite. If left alone for too long, it would eventually take over and turn her into an illithid.
How long do we have then?
A while. She's not showing any signs yet, so we have time.
Raises an eyebrow, just of like
I
time
think
is very
what
loose.
we learned is once she starts showing like more sickly symptoms, it's about a week.
Alright, well, that at least
But
knows.
She's not showing
there's
any
no
of
way
the
to know how
symptoms
long
yet.
it will be until she
Those
does.
signs.
Well,
I don't know how far along it is.
say
or how
we
not
should act
far.
under the assumption that a week could begin tomorrow.
So I
Good.
thought too.
That's probably the best approach to take, yeah.
But
But
there
it gives
seems
us
to be
more time
options.
than be surprised.
We have
But-
leads. We'll get this out of her.
Well, then
Perhaps we should consider what our thoughts are on
what?
going to go about this.
One of them was to ask
we
someone in Gordon.
Yeah, we know that when they were traveling from Taliana, some people experienced this. So we were going to maybe start with. I never actually spoke to her, but
one of the council members in Gordon owes us a favor.
One of the.
Basically.
So we're gonna start with that, I think.
And there's also some fae.
And there's also a dragon.
Yeah.
Another dragon.
No, the same dragon.
Same dragon.
Perhaps that is a later
like
plan in case other things do not come to fruition.
Well, I mean, I think the first plan is the council member of Gordon.
Yeah.
And then fae or dragon are both.
I'm not sure which is more dangerous.
Concerning. So those are, we can decide when we get there. Unless we can find Wander, because that would be handy.
Yeah.
Leah's not met Wander, right?
Yeah, no.
No, we.
Okay. Because I was gonna say she just raises an eyebrow and
We
says,
ran into the halfway in, right?
Yeah.
Leah didn't.
No.
That was before we met Leah.
Oh, that was before we met
at
Leah,
least
yeah.
met Wander.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leah's just gonna raise an eyebrow and say, Wander?
Friend of ours.
Another
What?
friend?
Wander would be able to help? Seriously?
I mean, Wander knows
She
some
might.
fae.
Yeah.
That is true. My
Seems to have a...
Elias, would you be able to send to her?
I could try, but...
No guarantee she's.
No guarantee. Yeah.
so that's
if she's not on this
close.
plane, then...
it's not
that'll
physically
actually get to her.
close. Yeah, it's plane of existence.
It's
Magic
yeah.
is usually plane of existence, right?
Yes.
Yes, and yeah. What I can
Out of
do as
character,
long as
yes.
it's on plane.
Yeah, we're always asking in character.
Yeah. But who knows with one?
It's only a 5% chance if they're on a different plane that it doesn't arrive.
Yeah.
So it's a 95% chance that they do get that.
Mm-hmm. It is an option at least.
So, yeah.
Right.
We still have that rod that we picked up in the catacombs, right?
The what?
I believe so.
Which rod was that?
I don't think we got rid of it.
Catacombs?
The one that is, I guess we decided was kind of similar to what Wiria has, but it was fancy. Like an idea.
It's a rod of the path keeper.
Yeah, that one.
Right.
Oh no, Kratan's just confused. She wasn't
Oh
there
yeah,
for that, so.
she wasn't there.
You don't know what you're talking about either.
Yeah.
Well, assuming we have it, I will get it from whoever was carrying all the stuff.
I assume it's
I'm going to try it differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of lead is that?
I just kind of gesture to the wrapped up coat under my arm.
Oh.
That's
Yeah. I guess that could
worth trying.
I suppose if it is.
It's not the worst.
Supposed to
Look
be-
directly at Velas. It's not the worst idea I've heard
So it's
lately.
not.
That it is not.
If your patron is
Party inventory might
supposed to
need to be
fight these, perhaps.
I already took it out of there. I was just RPing it.
Okay. Well. Okay.
Yeah, it's in my D&D Beyond inventory.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
I'm not going to do that out here, though.
No.
I'm going to head back to wherever we're staying.
Mm. What other leads are there in the meanwhile that we should be following?
Well,
I will
I can-
inform my father to let me know
yeah.
if she shows any signs of worsening. I think I may.
To look at her eyes.
For the time being,
if she gets sick, her eyes will be the first to change.
Oh, that is good to know, I guess.
She shall be all right, Leomora.
I do hope so, and I do have faith in you lot. You have not let me down yet, so I may spare my father some of the details for now. Just I don't want to sour what he has.
She'll be all right.
Yeah.
We're not going to give up on her.
Of course not.
So Leah will go back in and just relay that basically they're probably going to be heading off to track down some leads, but to giving her dad the instructions on what to watch for and to let her know if she shows any signs of worsening. And then we'll join back up with wherever they are, I guess.
Your father seems worried, but at the same time, very confident.
Mm-hmm.
You brought her back. And I know that you and your friends will keep her here.
And Leah will nod and I will let you know before we leave.
Thank you.
I love you. And then she'll just head out to meet up. I'm assuming she knows wherever they're staying.
I think it was where we stayed last time.
Yeah, same place.
Walking away, hear the sort of the front door open. And he sort of jogs in a little bit with a small parcel.
Hold on, you seem very far away suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can position the mic
That's much better.
much closer without messing up my keys, like just resting it on my keyboard. Okay, how about now?
Yes, much better.
All right.
That's better.
So you hear the door open, and he sort of jogs out to catch up with you, and hands you sort of a wrapped parcel in a cloth. Just to take with you in case you get hungry. And he kind of like awkwardly goes in for a hug, but he's not quite sure if you're.
Oh, she will definitely just kind of
Right,
chuckle
right.
and absolutely hug him back. Her dad's charisma is not the highest, I'm pretty sure. It's just funny.
He's very gregarious, but he's a little rough around the edges.
I know you're friends.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you're too cool to like hug in front of your friends.
Over school.
Like that, But
she will definitely hug him and.
No.
Thank you.
And he kind of looks all at the rest of you and maybe gives you a nod of acknowledgement and kind of goes back inside the home.
You have a good dad, Leah.
I do.
It's true.
All right. Well, Elias, I think you have to do most of the communicating here.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
It's not a spell that I know.
I know not how long.
Did Aiden already go off to...
Yeah, I assume.
Yep.
He left.
Aiden took off on his own.
He's already gone.
Aiden.
He left when I said it.
Yeah, I was pretty sure. I just wanted to check.
I love how at this point we all just assume Aiden has off on.
Right.
No, Haku.
Aiden's own version of spell time.
Oh, I'll never live that down.
So we're gonna start with I don't remember her name, but the person in Garden. I see we're talking about the...
Like after looking in the book, after they talked about it the first time around, flip the journal.
Right.
Cortanis is an in-character note taker.
Yeah. It's convenient.
I try.
All right. So you're gonna cast Sending to Sumnus.
Sumnus, yes.
Maharasha.
Yeah.
Like also Taliana's done.
Will they be happy about that?
We don't have to mention that just yet. Okay. Speed. Brain.
25 words or less.
I know, I'm like, oh no.
Right?
I mean,
Should we write this down
You
first?
figure it out before.
Yes.
That is often a smart thing to do, yes.
Yes.
Now you see why Laura Bailey sits there and counts.
Yeah. No, everybody counts for her.
Yeah, Laura
doesn't know until I'm up.
Takes out writing implement, opens book to a free page, gives it to Elias to write first.
Brainstorm.
Alright. Let's say
you are the ones who spoke with her, so you might have a better sense of how to ask, but
I know not whether she would simply direct us to the one they called grandfather the last time.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
Possible, but she might also have information that he wouldn't, so it's worth asking her first, probably. Because...
yeah. Let's see.
So what is the information that you first want to get?
Yeah. So we want to know if she knows of any or can direct us to someone that would know about
how to cure this.
All right.
So
those. Hi. Friend has an illithid parasite in her brain.
called Theromorphosis, but I don't know that she would know that title.
Okay.
Illithid parasite in her brain seems reasonable enough.
Hoping you might know of a solution?
10 left.
Or know someone who does?
Or know someone who does.
You owe us a favor. Might be worth reminding her.
Do they?
Do we want to...
I mean...
I don't know if we want to...
I don't know
That's
if
basically it.
I mean, I maybe say thank
there.
you, or I appreciate it. You know, I mean, if we don't want to go with Velas's approach of reminding them that they owe us, perhaps just
Or
a nice polite.
Really?
did you introduce
They
yourself?
are pretty arrogant.
This is Elias, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like,
I don't
they're gonna
know
be
if they
like,
suddenly
"Who is
know
this?"
who the sending is from. I know.
Okay.
Talked to you once. How long ago?
It was only a couple of weeks. I mean, you all brought back her lover, so
The body
she's,
of her dead lover. So
Yeah.
she's very familiar with who you all are. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's the thing is, like, I'm like, in trying to prep, I'm like, okay, who are all the different people you can cast sending on? And then think about that. I'm like, this is how Matt Mercer feels.
and then you're like, let's cast sending on Wander.
Does Kristen get to respond to that one?
She's not mine anymore.
Always yours.
A few moments later, you hear her voice back. Elias? How? Oh, hell. There's a pause. You hear this? Do you know what's going on? They are here too. Are you and your friend safe?
I assume Elias relays that.
Yeah.
What?
The Illithid?
I assume.
Okay, this
How?
is...
Why?
Wait, could this be... I mean, we've had aberrations in all kinds of ways, maybe not from Taliana, but
Did
From
they
the-
might once
cultists?
your ritual was done?
I mean, there were
Cultists-
those cultists in the mountains, but...
I mean, there was a mind
The
flayer
first
there.
one we found, was it with the cultists?
It was in the mountains where the cultists were.
That is true.
It wasn't specifically with the cultists,
Yeah.
but it's reasonable to make an association. I mean, I could be wrong. It maybe was incidental, but that seems unlikely.
So Guardian is under attack?
Oh,
No.
maybe?
Maybe. I mean, she was asking if we're okay, so...
I mean, I think we need to send back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let them know that, yes.
We're fine. We're all fine here now. How are you?
Perhaps not that frantically. Yes, we're fine. Beyond our friend's issue.
What is happening there
What
exactly?
has happened?
Yeah.
Do you know where they came from? I'm not counting words, so.
Yeah.
How many?
How
Yes.
many? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll cast sending again.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the spell slots for it.
Yeah, it's a third
Right.
level, so it's not
So-
too bad.
I mean, Y'all took care of the big threat, so there's probably not going to be a bunch of like shadow monsters and stuff making their way south anymore. Although, if there's anything currently in transit, those are still probably going to be coming. Yeah. But the source has been dealt with.
All right, so yeah, casting sending again. Just be like, we're fine. What's? I guess. When did they? How many? When?
Ask her what is happening if they're under attack.
What's happening? Is Gordon under attack?
I mean, you can kind of end. You don't have to go the full 25 words. You can kind of end the spell there.
Like,
it sort of got everything across, I think.
Right. A moment later, she responds. Yes. People have been dying, turning into horrible creatures like the ones you described. It's been, I don't know, weeks, not too long after you left. The council is divided. The survivors have all fled the city to the woods. I don't know how Gordon is anymore.
I will relay that. So this sounds bad.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
No.
It also when she said the way we described, does she mean
sounds like what the
puppet fish people, or what's happening to Leah's
Illithid.
Illithid. Or, I don't know, but she didn't say Illithid. She said they sound the way you described, which makes me think the oh gosh, what was the name of that town? Tesoa, yeah.
Okay. Tesoa.
And Sibboleth as well.
Yeah.
Something kind of burst out of her.
Yeah.
That
so it may not be Illithid that they're dealing with necessarily, but
aberrations, which
okay. The kind that the cultists are responsible for.
Okay. Well, that does mean that us dealing with Taliana didn't bring it to them.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, a positive.
It's not our fault.
Yeah, the cultists were not that sort of en route there anyway, or near there anyway, right? So, how go stop? Well, okay. So she sounds like doesn't have any information for us for Leah's mother. So that's one option crossed off. But we also may need to figure out what's going on in Gwarden. I didn't particularly like the Shatter Kai, but there were good people in Gwarden.
Yeah.
And see if they left.
We have kind of personal beef with the Brotherhood, so.
Yeah, we definitely want to deal with that. We should.
And suddenly everyone realizes, oh God, Aiden's not here.
Tell Aiden.
Yeah, how far away is how far away is the place we were at? Should we just message bracelet him? He has one, right?
You're probably all within about 100-ish feet. Yeah, whatever. Close enough to message, sure.
We probably assumed he wanted privacy,
he
so didn't go
time.
join him in the space. How can we stop?
He didn't imply that, but.
But Aiden. He always wants privacy. Yeah, we can message him and be like,
someone with one of those.
Wiria can message him just with her message spell and be like, well, sounds like the Brotherhood may be in Guarden. Though the survivors apparently have left.
Yeah, looking to Elias at that.
Yeah.
Don't that mean that the
So they fled to the woods.
city is simply overrun? Like Talyana.
Probably. Doesn't sound good, whatever it is.
No. Never respite.
When they hit Saw, they came from their mine, right? There was a quarry near Guarden.
Yeah.
It could have
That's
come
true.
from there.
And that is where the Illithid was as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, when Aiden joins us, we need to revisit that question, though we need to deal with Leah's mother before we deal with Gordon.
Yeah. That's the
Yes, at least it seemeth that everyone is out of the city, so that...
Yeah.
Well, and even if we left today, it would take us time to get there.
Precisely.
We can't instantly help them, so... All right. Well, that didn't work. We could message Wander, we could...
Yeah.
I mean, Aiden...
She deals with some weird shit, right?
Yeah, is there anyone else?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, she does.
Actually,
as was made very clear when she showed up at the halfway inn.
Yeah, I will be right back. I've
Always.
had a little too much water to drink.
I can appreciate it.
Fair.
All right.
So what's Aiden been doing in the meanwhile?
Yeah,
I was actually going to say, like, the conversation sort of dwindled a little bit, and so cut to Aiden as you found yourself in solitude.
Yeah, I
What are
mean,
you working on?
I don't know how the message would interact with the fact that I'm trying to do an attunement ritual. So,
You'd probably hear it, but you could ignore it.
I feel like at the most, if he acknowledges it, the most where he gets back is probably like a shit.
Sounds about right.
Maria will relay that and be like, he says
Oh, I think everyone hears the message.
not surprised.
The message brooch.
Right.
What?
Everyone
no,
wearing
I'm
one.
not. She didn't use the message brooch. She doesn't have one. She gets message.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, but what he was intending to do was basically just go back to wherever and set out the sword and then the rod right next to it, and basically I'm using this time to actually attune to the rod.
Sure.
But also, since I'm using it with the sword, hopefully trying to use that opportunity.
It would be a waste of a well-rolled magic item to say, like, it's not really usable. So I will more than happily allow you to blend it together and incorporate it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say, if anybody was there, basically like the haft of the sword would basically just kind of unravel and gradually take in the rod and wrap around it.
Nice.
Oh yeah, totally works. And
we miss all the cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like it sort of like kind of like the Venom symbiote where it's like bits and pieces kind of like jerkily moving out before like wrapping around it, pulling it all together. It's too like there was a significant amount of budget that went into those special effects. But when you sort of like pick the blade back up, you can feel like the weight of it has shifted a little bit, and you can definitely sense a little bit more. You can feel like connection is sort of stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of test, swing it a little bit, make sure the balance is different, but it's not off. But when you do, you sort of your attention is then drawn Did you go to like just somewhere, or like back to that little the cottage that you're all
I
staying
went
at?
back to the cabin or whatever.
Okay, the cabin. Sure. You notice a chessboard, kind of on the table near you. Very distinctive cut pieces made of various hues of wood. This is definitively one of the sort of mass-produced ones that often get used in the academy. And you can see a number of pieces are laid out as if it's a game already in progress. And you can see kind of tucked into a corner is the Black King. And then a number of various black pieces kind of spread around and about, a number of white pieces sort of knocked over to the side. But you see sort of almost spread out very distinctively a black knight, a black bishop, and a black rook. The black bishop is turned on its side.
Can I go over to it?
Oh yeah, you can see it.
And
it's physical. You can interact with it. Yeah, it's feels real to the touch.
Yeah. Can I stand the bishop up?
When you go to stand the bishop up, you can see it just sort of almost burn away, sort of little motes of yellow and gold kind of coming off of it as it kind of dissipates into ash.
I'm trying to envision like there's a move I'm supposed to make with board, but I don't have all those details. So
so you can intuit based on the game state that white just made a move that took out the black bishop, but the white queen is being threatened by the black knight. And there do look like are a number of moves available to white to defend. But very distinctively, you can see two white rooks. One of them is deep in the black side of the board, and one of them is sort of near where the black bishop fell.
None of them are. There's no check in play at the moment.
There's no check in play, but you can see, depending on how the next couple of turns go, the white queen could get lost.
Is it implied?
All depends on your opponent.
Yeah. Is it implied that black is my side? Is that what?
No, the white pieces are on your side. The black pieces are on the other side.
Okay.
I hadn't made that clear. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think of it. So basically, depending on the move white makes this turn, the black knight will take the white queen, or does the queen threatening the knight?
So I'm not super good at chess, and I'm trying to like build this into.
Yeah, neither of us. I'm sure grandmasters can easily.
Right. So it's. I would imagine that this is probably something that Aiden did a significant amount of in the academy because like classes are boring.
Sure.
Also, you can probably get money from people by beating them in chess, especially if you can cheat. But it's not like. So you can see a couple of moves ahead. And there's too many pieces left on the board to really map out a definitive path.
Okay.
There's too many possibilities. But based on the gambit that black is making, it looks like
take the white queen.
They're either trying to take the white queen or force the white queen to sacrifice herself. is the impression that you get from the board state.
Okay. Is there another white piece I can move to defend the queen?
There are a number of white pawns. There's also still a bishop, a rook, and a knight.
Okay. Yeah, you did mention the rooks.
Yeah, 2 white rooks.
Yeah, I'll move one of the rooks up.
Okay. Move the rook. Kind of sit there and watch and wait. None of the other pieces respond or move. Did you move the white rook that was on your side of the board, or the white rook that was on the other side of the board?
I wasn't. See, I'm still not sure what the setup is.
Yeah, I can't.
Gotcha.
It's hard to see.
Just as hard without visuals.
I'm trying to infer basically what the correct RP move is, and
Right.
it's kind of
Gotcha.
hard to do either way.
Yeah, without a visual representation.
Yeah.
So narratively speaking, there is the battlefield is still fairly most of the black pieces on one side, most of the white pieces on the other. There's a pawn here or there that's kind of spread across.
Mhm.
But it looks like white has kind of taken over a significant section of the board, and that's where the black bishop had fallen. But there's still off to a side a black knight and a black rook. The black knight being 1 or 2 moves away from potentially threatening. And so then the other white rook is like way on the other side of all of the other black pieces, isolated from the rest of the white pieces.
The white queen, so that it is adjacent to the black knight, which it can't take it from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
The pieces, with the exception of that black bishop that kind of dissolved when you tried to pick it up and like set it up.
Mm-hmm.
You could the rest of the pieces seem physical, and you pick it up and move it next to the black knight, but there isn't really a response.
At this point, I feel like I'm getting bored with it. So it's like, it's not really much of a game if it's only one player.
You just hear fading footsteps, sort of click, click, of sharply heeled dress military boots.
Did you say fading or
Fading, as if someone walked away.
okay? Yeah, then I will go in the direction that I heard those.
Okay. It sounded like it was just sort of like leaving the room.
Okay.
Or going outside.
Okay. Yeah. Still go that way.
Sure. You head outside, and there doesn't seem to be anybody out here or anything present. Just the forest and some of the other nearby homes and buildings.
You're not doing yourself any favors here. I don't know, does it seem oddly abandoned, or?
No, just quiet. There just doesn't have to be anyone around at the moment.
Okay.
You're still there's still sort of like you still get birdsong. You still like there's nothing like eerily creepy or dream like about the environment.
Probably hears chattering like 120 feet away.
Yeah.
Just talking through shit.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, you actually, I would say, you probably could hear snippets of conversation kind of far off. The sound of the party event is getting mildly louder as it seems like they're probably on their way back to meet with you, but nothing out of the ordinary or unusual.
I'll just kind of look at the blade, and then
it is the same as it ever is.
Wrap back up.
Okay. Where do you go from here?
Towards the party, I guess.
Okay. All right. They're kind of coming towards you, so it's only a few moments before you meet up.
I know
get
towards
any
the party meant the group, but towards the party made me think towards the literal party.
Right.
That was in the onsen earlier. That apparently. Did you get any information, Aiden?
Just playing more games.
No, that's all.
Well, the patron is most confusing.
We did. Not
I
the
heard.
information we were looking for, but.
So our next plan is maybe wander in the Fae?
Just a start.
Yes,
it can only give us what we have now, which is very little. But hopefully more.
Yeah. Guess we'll start with wander.
I mean, talking to wander seems the safest.
Yeah.
I'm for that.
Unless she shows up dragging more aberration bugs with her again.
Oh, yeah.
In which case we're
could do
surrounded by
that.
a bunch of Furbolg warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair. We can probably beat the aberration bugs.
Leah just raises an eyebrow again and is like, "You some strange things."
She's an odd one, Leah.
Wander is a character, but she's a good character.
Well, I trust you, and I trust your judgment of your friends. So.
All right. I guess I'll go ahead and cast sending
again
towards wander. I'll start using some of these higher level spell slots. I can do this 2 more times. So.
Do you say to wander?
Help.
Hey, Wander. New friend.
Who you are.
Huh?
Tell her who you are this time.
I mean, I think she remembers me.
Wander, we have a little bit more relationship than the council member.
True.
The council member we talked to like once. New friend has a illithid parasite in her brain. Looking for
looking for cures.
Looking for cures. Hoping you might have some ideas or know of someone who does. How are you?
Hey, Alex. Good. Real bad time.
5 things and a lizard.
Sorry to hear about it, Illithid. Best bet. Try people who deal with them a lot. I try not to. Hope everyone's okay. That's it was strange.
Anything?
No, not really.
Great. Well, so I guess the question is, do we just approach random Fae on our own?
I mean, I almost feel like approaching the dragon is...
No.
Reach out to Vincenthralax and say, hey, buddy.
Yeah, Katana is continuing to look through her pack and try to find something quickly, and eventually kind of pulls out. Thanks for a second.
Why do we feel like Warden is a dead end?
Well, Warden's overrun with aberrations.
Well, it sounds like the perfect spot then.
If they figured out a cure.
It doesn't change the fact that they have a history. Just because they're not dealing with it in the present. Or if they are.
I mean...
Right, but they failed at clearing them out on the way here, so unless they came up with something since then.
Well, and the woman, I mean, she didn't give us any information about how to do anything, and she did ask if we were okay, so...
Yeah.
They did say the survivors left.
I mean, the problem is getting to Warden would take time, so if we can't get information via Elias, I don't know.
I know you mentioned Faye. I doth not know if it is entirely in the wheelhouse, and she's kind of holding, she's been holding something a little bit after she pulled it out of the bag, and kind of holds the other signet ring that she got. I doth not know if young Master Cillianeth could help us, but they did escape to some place that could be Fae-based. I believe that is what he said.
Who?
Yeah, we're all like,
Leah's like, and I thought I was the only one who didn't know this one. Leah's just gotten used to, new names and being like, okay, somebody they know.
Hagen, too.
Yeah, she said young Master Cillianeth. I'm like, oh, right, the elder elf we met back at the halfway inn.
Oh.
This time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that guy.
Well,
I used to call him young Master. He was much younger back then.
Fair.
Clearly.
Well, we could ask him. We could ask for the dragon. We could message grandfather.
Do we have expensive enough?
Look, I can do this 2 more times, all right? We just
I'm just trying to lay out the options. We could just go find some Fae. My experiences with Wanderers suggest that's probably not a great idea.
Let's go for
It's better than doing nothing.
Oh, Wiria, what about your patron?
I can try. I don't actually know how to get in contact, but I've never tried to get.
I haven't figured that out either.
I've never tried.
Seems like half the time just shouting out into the ether, does it? Being like, hey.
That works for you.
All right, fair.
I feel like your relationship with the Raven Queen and my relationship with Riven Dance are slightly different. Mostly because the Raven Queen is the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
And also Cortana's a sister, but that's another matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I can go out into the woods, and I mean, I feel like the woods would be the better place than I mean, we're close to the woods, so that could. Area is rambling now.
For all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna work. I mean, I can certainly try.
We're certainly going through all the options we have for the people who can potentially do something.
I mean, I can
try contacting grandfather.
Forgive me, I'm otherwise feeling very useless in this situation.
No, I understand. I mean, I'm happy to go
join the club.
I mean, Leah, you might. I mean, River Dancer, I think, was associated with the Wild Mother, so maybe you and I could try together to see what we can get that way.
Sure.
Yeah, why hasn't the Wild Mother come up in all this?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that too. I just am really low energy, so
no, that's fair. I mean,
I'm like, yeah. I mean, I feel like it would occur to Leah to try and like commune with the Wild Mother, similar to how she did before they left and stuff. I just don't remember, like mechanically how I did that, or if it was just.
I think you just sort of went out in the morning.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember if there was a mechanical thing for it or not.
Communed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And weird is like the only time I've really talked to my patron, I just sort of walked into a church that had unicorns and said, "Hey, help!" But okay, well, so Elias, you can use that spell twice more, you said?
Once more now, I think.
Twice.
Okay, I thought you had used it once.
I've got 1 4th level out of meta. I've got 1 4th level slot left and 5th level slot. So.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
What did you use the other slots for today?
Sending.
Sending. I used the third. I used 3rd level for something.
I mean, sending is 3rd level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, I used one 3rd level for something else. I don't remember
what. And some 4th
what.
level and some 5th level.
No, I've.
Yeah.
I only have one.
You've only done sending. You only.
Yeah, so I guess I used 2. I used 2 of my 3rd level slots. And so I used 1 for sending, and then I've used 2 of my 4th level, so I have 1 left, and I have 1 5th level.
Okay, I was confused.
Yeah.
I sent Assuminus twice.
I'm a 9th level cleric,
once.
so
yeah, because you only use sending 3 times, so I guess you used a 4th level before that too.
I've used 2 of my 4th level slots to cast it.
Okay, so you used 2 3rd levels before that. Before sending.
Like, you all haven't had a long rest since the Raven Queen, like since before the Raven Queen.
That's fair. I just was making sure because I was like, brain.
Yeah.
Because I actually haven't used like any fucking spell slots
since that ghost fight. I think that ghost fight, and then you haven't slept since.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because I use calm emotions, but that's a use per rest thing, not a spell slot. That makes sense. All right. Well, okay. So your elf Curtanus, Vicenthralex, grandfather.
I feel like grandfather's probably a better option. Vicenthralex is a bit of a long shot.
I mean,
grandfather?
Vicenthralex would.
She knows a lot.
Potentially no, but whether or not we can get her to help is an entirely different question.
Look, let me know if you guys find anything. I'm just gonna try to think of something.
Okay.
Just try to think if there's anything that I'm missing. Phyllis is gonna just kind of go for a walk.
Sure.
Leah will try and ask the Wild Mother if Wiria wants to also, she wants to try and, somehow commune together or whatever, but yeah, Leah will
Yeah, I mean, where it was mostly like, I don't know how to do this. Maybe if my patron is somewhat associated. Maybe if I watch Leah, it'll help me figure out how to do this.
And I feel like Leah's like, I mean, it's worth a shot. Like, I was like, I don't know, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, the question is grandfather all right?
Whose grandfather?
Oh,
very old elf.
Extremely old elf.
Extremely old elf.
In Guarden, actually.
That was young during the escape from Taliana.
Yeah.
Literally traveled from Taliana.
Yeah.
Or at least the outskirts, not one of the main houses.
Maybe we'd try contacting him next.
It's worth a shot. I mean, worst case scenario, you run out of the ability to cast the spell and you need to sleep, which we probably should do soon.
I mean, I need to sleep.
I know not if the boy during that journey would know how they cured it.
He was a literal child.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And now he is
very old.
Very old.
Very old, even for an elf.
I mean,
that's true. Yeah, he may not actually.
I suppose the young master is now as well, but
pretty sure grandfather's older than.
I don't know. It depends. Was that before or after the calamity?
I think it would have been. I think technically, it was all. I don't know if I've ever perfectly established the timeline for Taliana, because it's been kind of like wibbly-wobbly for a bit.
I know Toriel was during, at least I remembered it being during the calamity, or at least like around that time.
I can check in my notes. I forget if you.
I would say that El Turiel is definitely older. So like this is so the Exodus is post calamity.
So Cillianoth is older than this grandpa.
Right.
All right. Well.
And from what you understood, they had spent a significant amount of time in the Feywild.
Yeah. So maybe that probably helped with that bit.
Right.
I mean, it's worth asking, perhaps. I mean, again, worst case scenario, whoever we talk to today doesn't have an answer. Elias sleeps. We talk to more people. The question is, who do we want to talk to first? That's really all it comes down to.
Leah's gonna just head off towards trees and just if you would like to join me, I figure if anything, the Wild Mother might be able to give us some direction on where to look.
Sure. I guess.
She's clearly seeing that we've hit we have a lot of options and we don't know which to pick. She's like, okay, we're just gonna start talking to the Wild Mother.
I'll go with Leah and try to contact my patron. Where it's like, I don't know how to do this, but we're gonna try. And I'll leave you. I mean, I trust you. Whoever you decide to reach out to is a good choice. So. I mean, there's like, I don't know if there's any better choices, so might as well whatever you pick.
You aren't trying, and that is something.
Unless you're like, I'm gonna message the random person.
Well, there's that other option that he and Velas discussed, but
there is a spring. It is the place that you had gone to before that is particularly consecrated, so as best as you can kind of describe that, as a nature deity versus like a temple or something that was constructed by people. And you could set up there and do kind of like a ritual guided meditation. Not a summoning, but ritual of entreaty or reverence kind of thing, and then it hopes to reach the Wild Mother. And then Wuria. So you are going to kind of follow Leah's lead.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to mostly support her in her attempts to reach out to the Wild Mother? Or are you looking to contact River Dancer?
I mean, I think, and I feel like Wiria trusts that Leah knows how to reach out to her own goddess. She's done this before.
Sure.
So probably doesn't think, unless Leah asks for help, that Leah needs like additional support.
Okay.
So she'd probably take out her unicorn horn and, you know, follow Leah's lead in the sense of, well, there's an association there, so maybe it'll help to use some of those rituals, but also sort of do her own thing a little bit to try to see if she can find a way to get a hold of River Dancer.
Sure. Okay. So the process for
You
the
sound
community.
You're really
far away again.
Really weird, yeah.
Let me do that. How about now?
Yes.
That's better.
Yes, good.
All right. So the process for the communion is a significant amount of time that it will take to kind of set up and then to go through the ritual itself. So it'll likely be well into evening past sunset by the time that you are done.
Assuming she would probably know that, Leah would tell the others, like, you know, keep trying whatever you figure out, but in the meantime, I'm gonna do this.
Okay.
Understood.
So while Leah and Wuria kind of set up to do that, what are the rest of you going to be doing?
Considering she really can't help Elias.
Yeah.
Might, at least like for the moment, basically tell him to contact her. And just might go.
Yeah. I'll try. I guess I'll try messaging. What's his face? The. Oh. Cortana's former.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. Unless
that would be very difficult because you've never met him.
I've only met. That's right.
You did. Well, you kind of met him in passing because you were there at the time when we first saw
For
him.
sending, though, you have to have spoken to them before, don't you?
It's.
Let me see.
I feel like Critical Role
to a creature with
that line
which you
a
are
lot.
familiar.
You are familiar.
Yeah.
Technically, you met him, you heard him speak, and you saw him have a.
I don't know if
brief
having like
conversation.
holding on to the ring would help him, but
having a ring and as a point of focus would, with the recall of your memory, would absolutely be able to allow you to cast the spell.
I trust Elias with it.
I mean, I don't know. Do we think he might know anything?
It was simply a thought that if they have been in the Feywild, then perhaps the family may have some information. They did come from Teliana, but they did not make the trek the same way as the others.
Yeah, of course, if they were... they've been in the Feywild, they may not have encountered aberrations that much.
Possibly, but they did escape from the aberrations, so... 'Twas simply a thought. I know not how else to help in this instance.
I'll hold on to the ring, just, I'll keep it in the back pocket.
All right.
It's...
If you need me, I may go focus for a while. And just kind of putting the hands on the hilts of the blades. It's been a while since she's gone through motions.
Sure.
I want to go hit something.
Excuse yourself and go to those training grounds, yeah.
That's... I have an idea, and it's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea, but...
Worse than Velus's idea?
No, it is Velus's idea. It's not.
I was going to say it. Let me guess. It probably is. Yeah.
Have we really got to that point yet?
I mean, that's a thing. That is.
We're getting there.
I'm pretty sure Velus said last thing after the dragon.
Yeah.
That being said, I will take whatever Velus is thinking of for the dragon.
Velas and Elias aren't so sure.
I mean, all right. I'll try and message the Synthrolex.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Oh
Just to
dear.
see what happens.
Wow.
Be like,
Okay.
not gonna go there in person, but
We have an enemy and a dragon.
Okay, you're gonna send her a message.
send her a message.
Sure.
Please let Velas help you construct this message. Because Weary is not there.
Well, Velas isn't there either.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, Velas.
No, but he wouldn't be too hard to find. He literally just went for a walk.
Right.
I'll take a minute. I'll just take a minute to really think that. I've dealt with this dragon before. Okay. Oh, this is a bad idea. I mean, we're down to bad ideas at this point, so...
Yeah, that's about all we've got at this point.
We've got Dragon Archfey. Or not Archfey of some kind. Equally dangerous in different ways. Potentially.
Always have.
Yeah. Also not a good idea.
Not 3 times. Just saying.
Alright.
No one remind Weary of Jenny, please.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure give it time, Jenny will remind Weary of Jenny.
Right.
Weary goes into the woods to meditate. Jenny pops out of a tree. Bah!
No!
Not what I wanted.
No! Okay. Alright. Send a message. Hello. Sorry to bother you. We're looking for a solution to an illithid parasite. Do you know any? What would you want in exchange?
Good question.
I'm not a deal. A two-way street here.
You hear back, and the voice is just as
regret
gravelly and heavy as you remember it, without the acrid smell accompanying it, however. I was very close to leaving to repay you, for instance. when you saved it at the end. I know nothing of Illithid. But they infest the mountains. East of the town of Elves. Come visit sometime.
Hard pass.
Yes.
It'd be great if those were like exactly the number of words that were given.
Lost
Right.
count. So I was just trying to.
It's just like
Whatever it would have been, even if I didn't say it, it was exactly 25 words.
Okay.
Because Ancient Green Dragon is far smarter than I am.
Well,
Anything?
she said she doesn't know anything about Illithid, just that they infest the mountain east of Warden, which we already knew.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't know.
we
Why
didn't
we're
have to
still
go
standing
see her.
around.
Yeah, now we don't have to go see her.
Well, Velas.
Is gone. He walked off.
Also, to be fair, Elias is the only one that knows Velas had a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess we're trying to find a way to Guarden, right?
Yeah.
Well, we still don't know how Weary and
Right.
Lena are doing. If they manage to get anything.
Well, let's start working towards
Let's
this,
start-
and
yeah,
if they
let's
come up with
start
better
gearing up.
news, good for them.
Good. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard to work towards that if we're all in different directions at the moment.
Well, let's start
Can't really
Us
leave.
three.
gearing up for.
Now, how exactly did you get to us, Keegan?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came through a tree. You didn't see it?
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
how,
but
how
how
did you
did-
end up
How
jumping
did you
through
come
a
through a
tree?
tree?
That was pretty
You can do
obvious.
again.
I thought I told you. It was the druid.
Egan did, but yeah.
So can we find a druid here who could do something similar?
I no way to contact him.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about yours. I'm talking about
mean-
somebody here.
I see what
I
you
don't
mean.
Shepherd is the most powerful
I was
druid.
I was gonna say Shepherd's probably our best bet, but I don't think she's in addition to.
Yeah.
Well, she's not sick yet. She's just literally exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, does she know how to tree stride?
We don't know.
I have no idea.
All we know is she's very
Even if she
powerful.
did, she wouldn't know of any trees.
That's true.
Yeah.
She would have to know of a tree. on
But
the
if she
board.
could cast Tree Stride, she could also cast Windwalk,
Mm,
Mhm.
technically.
Ooh.
true.
Yeah. I feel like we asked her at some point when we were trying to figure out how to get to the Raven Queen and back, and I want to say that her response was like, not today or something, which tells me she probably might know. Like, I don't remember what level those things
Well,
are,
she
but
just
I
didn't
don't.
have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know druids like
Well,
prepare
let's
daily
keep
spells,
that in
so
mind.
Yeah, then.
Yeah.
it might be a possibility, yeah.
All right. Well, let's sleep on it. See if. I think I might go find Velas real quick before sleeping on it.
Okay. You go
Just-
find Velis.
He literally just went for a walk.
Oh, she's still on audio. Okay.
Yeah,
Leah,
I'm here.
you sit in meditation. Despite the darkening sky and growing chill, you are comfortable and warm, at peace. You're at home. Okay. As the moon slowly begins to rise. You can see sort of the light reflecting off of the pool of water by the spring. And you know that Wuria was around, but she's not there anymore. You're alone in this glade. And you find yourself enjoying a night that is not gloomy. It is not threatening. It is peaceful. You see light kind of reflecting in the spring, the water. Never really a still surface because of the spring, but at the moment it is still. And you can see that the light of the moon is being reflected in it very clearly. And despite the chill in the air, you smell a sort of a burst of floral perfume of sorts, as if flowers had just bloomed, a huge number of flowers, with the scent being carried on the wind towards you. And as you look up from the pool, you can see the figure of a woman sitting on a rock, dangling her feet into the water. It's not disturbing the surface of the water at all. The water is still sort of preternaturally. The water is preternaturally still, but you see it. She's sort of just dangling her feet, kind of looking at you with her head cocked to the side. Hello, Leah.
Hello.
I think you finally have found your path. She kind of looks up, sadly, a little bit in the general direction of home.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Many years ago, I asked her mother to go. She was the only one who was capable, but I asked perhaps too much of her. It was good that you went in her stead.
Do you know how I can save her, though?
I can't cleanse that corruption. But I think that friends that you have made, the ones that you travel with, might already have their answers.
They seem to have almost too many options. They seem to be hitting dead ends with many, though.
Sometimes, when you're lost in the woods, it seems that you can go in any direction. I'm not quite sure which one will lead you where you need to go. But your name is not half follower.
Are you saying that I'll find it?
I believe you will.
I knew that. I'm not sure I understand how, but I know that if you are saying as much, that I would be a fool to deny its possibility.
Stay with your friends and keep them safe.
That I definitely can do.
They are a determined bunch.
That they are.
I know that your mother does not trust me, and I do not blame her. But for what it's worth, perhaps you can relay to her my apology.
Yeah.
I am sorry to have asked so much of her.
But you also returned her to me, so I cannot hold you at fault. I believe you had to have some hand in preserving her, despite everything she went through. I know that is not your domain, but
She moved beyond my sight long ago. She survived, in spite of everything that she went through. But your father is right. It is you that brought her home, brought her back. And while you certainly carry my light within you, I think it is more the efforts of you and your friends that managed that feat.
I'm not sure how to feel about a goddess placing their faith in me, but I am humbled by it. And I will strive to make you proud as well as my family.
That's all anyone could ever ask. The pool ripples a little bit. Catches your attention, your eyes drawn to it. And when you look back, she's gone. Warya.
Yes.
Leah seems to have been meditating for quite some time. It is getting later into the evening, getting a little bit chilly. You don't want to disturb her, but you think she may have fallen asleep. It's getting late, and it's been a long day, very stressful, and she seems very peaceful though. Sort of kneeling in front of the spring. What do you do?
While Leah is apparently sleeping.
You've been kind of quiet because you didn't want to disturb her, but after a while it's like, oh no, she's asleep. So as long as you remain quiet, you probably won't wake her up.
Smile a little at Leah, and I'm like, just think for a moment and shrug. Sort of, well, she knows what she's doing, so maybe sleeping is part of it.
Maybe I should sleep too.
It's obviously part of communion.
I am so clueless about this whole thing.
This is the best. I'm just picturing this whole thing of like Leah goes to meditate and where is like doing like everything she does, and then eventually is like, wait, she's sleeping.
Yeah, that's basically what Waria's been doing, is like trying to copy Leah.
I love it.
Right.
Well, and Leah's like, I don't know how to teach somebody, so like maybe that works. So she doesn't like think it's weird. She's just like, maybe that's how you learn.
And like Waria's not like has a positive intelligence and a positive wisdom modifier, but she's not particularly good at either of those things. So copying Leah seems like a perfectly rational approach.
Yeah.
And Leah's intelligence is like average.
I mean, Leah's asleep, and so far Waria has not had any luck with this whole
yeah, not a whole lot of anything
meditating thing. So well, she just sort of shrugs and stands and probably pulls out a little slip of paper and writes Leah a little note that she went back to the others and sticks it under a rock next to Leah so it won't get blown away.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there is a slight wind every now and again that kind of rustles the trees, but yeah, a whole lot of nothing happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, out of character, I did not particularly expect that to work. So, on the assumption that if Leah's asleep, there's a reason, and that's fine. She's just gonna like quietly head back to home and see what everyone else is doing.
Okay. All right. So there's likely had been an evening meal. If any of you had been interested in partaking, it would have been available to you if you wanted to be off on your own. Some of you probably being the broody loners that so many of you are.
I was half expecting to, like, once she was done with some kata, there's stuff to bring back. Might bring back some stuff to the cottage for anyone who wasn't out there at the moment or was focusing like back at the cabin.
I think if Elias can catch up with Velas real quick.
Yep.
Be like, so on a scale of 1 to 10, exactly how bad of an idea would it be to contact your family?
Like a 13?
Okay.
All right. Gwarden it is.
Thought Gwarden was overrun.
Yeah, but that's kind of our only lead.
Let's call
Exhausted pretty much
Gwarden a
everything
12, so you know.
Yeah.
No, but Centralix
Slightly-
is a 12.
So, yeah, but she
But to be
doesn't
fair,
know
doesn't
anything.
know anything, yeah.
Yeah,
Look, I'll say this much. It's
either
it's
just
bad.
desperate.
It's bad for me, not necessarily for you guys. But like I said, if we have to, I'm willing to do it.
I mean, if it's bad for you, we probably shouldn't do it. Nothing
Like
you've
I
said
said,
about
I'd
your
rather
family
not.
makes me think that this is a good idea.
Honestly, I don't even
know.
know if they know I'm alive.
Should we keep it that way?
Ideally, but if it comes to it, Look, if Shepard is going to die otherwise, then I say that that's what has to happen. We have to talk to them. They're not good people, and more than likely, they would just want to drag me back there if they find out I'm around. But I've stayed ahead of them this far.
I mean, worst case scenario, I don't mind. I mean, hey, you were willing to punch a goddess for me, so I think I could punch a few family members for you.
Honestly, punching a goddess sounds like less of a terrible idea. You say it that way. Gordon.
Yeah, that's our... Start there, maybe. I don't know, maybe just head for the mountains, but...
I mean, if we don't find anything there, it's not like the option is lost.
Yeah.
We can contact them anytime, anywhere.
Yep.
But try Gordon first.
Yeah, let's try the, aberration infested city first.
Well, to be fair, it's really one aberration infested city or another.
That's true.
And we just got done with one.
And we just didn't we just leave this party?
But if it comes to it, I can probably make some kind of deal.
That seems like a bad idea too.
That was kind of what I said in the first place, yes. But we'll try Gordon.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any food left.
I'm sure there's food left.
Wander back for food.
So eventually you all recongregate back at the cabin, sans Leah.
Any luck?
Seems like Warden may be our best bet. Just going straight there.
Very well.
You wanted more aberrations, didn't you?
Yeah.
They're kind of
Want-
inescapable for some of us.
Yes. Want is a very loaded term.
Yeah, some of us spent literally years trying to get away from them and still circled back around. So I think at this point, kind of just part of it.
Does seem to be a lot of them. Leah was asleep. I don't know if that's part of communing with the Wild Mother, but I decided to leave her to it.
Don't.
Okay.
I mean, I've never tried to commune with the Wild Mother, so I don't know, but...
Hey, sleeping outdoors is good good.
And in fact, she's also
No.
got us some sleep.
Yeah.
Is that?
I didn't have much
Secondary,
luck,
but maybe
but
sleep.
maybe she did. I don't know.
Hmm.
I left her a note letting her know I'd come back here because it was getting cold and nothing was happening very much.
Hmm.
But if I see River Dancer, I'll ask.
I was asking if she shall be all right, but I.
Oh, you had
believe
just
she
as
has
much as
fur.
luck I did. Okay, yeah, good to
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
That's
Great. So trying
Runs.
to ask mysterious magical entities for help is 0 for 2.
Yeah.
Good to
Fair.
know.
You know.
I think
I
all
mean-
around we're kind of missing the mark.
Yeah.
So Guarden, then.
That is a direction.
Do we think
We're
that
gonna end up there anyway eventually.
Yeah.
do we think that Shepard can help us get there more quickly? Because I'm loath to
I mean,
travel all the way
That's
there.
kind of what we're betting on.
Well, we can ask. Yeah.
But how long is it
to
going to take us
see.
to get back? Something we're thinking about too.
I mean, could
Yes,
she
we
come with
cannot-
us?
Can we?
Do we
take her
really
with
want to
us?
force her to travel all that way?
Yeah.
She just returned home.
Do we
Yeah,
want
I'm not-
to know? But if the decision is between we might not make it back in time to save her even if we get a cure, and she might have to travel with us so she's there if we find a cure, that's the
Back
question.
into aberration hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
if we can
I say
get
we take our chances. We can always find another way.
Yeah.
Shut up,
Fair
Siri.
enough.
I didn't call you.
Who's this Siri?
I'm picturing Aiden just
Maybe
Yeah, wait, what is
Siri can help us find a cure. Hey
Yells like
Siri,
a
do you
sword all
know
of a
how
sudden.
to cure?
Cure Illithid.
Oh my gosh.
all right, well, that's fair. So
Here's what I found about seromorphosis.
Yeah. I was curious just to try it.
So when do we leave?
tomorrow?
Tomorrow at this
Yeah.
point.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, I mean,
Do
if
I
we-
have any idea of when my thing is done? Is it gonna be done tomorrow? Can I just pick that up in the morning?
I mean, hell, I was all for staying here a couple days, but it seems like
Yeah.
fate is not gonna let us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could
I
also
think the sooner
for
we
the wicked.
get this taken care of, the sooner we can actually get some rest.
Well, and my concern is we're
Can we-
already playing with time. If we don't know how much time we have. If we wait a couple days, that might be
I think it's
that
better
might
to just
be
get
the
going.
difference between success and failure.
Indeed.
And I'd hate
Tomorrow.
us wanting a break to be the reason that
Yeah.
Leah's mother dies.
No, I
No, of
definitely
course
think
not.
that we should.
Yeah.
That is
I think we should go with the sense of urgency for sure.
Worst downtime ever.
yeah, right?
Yeah, what part
Why
of
you do this to us,
relaxation actually
Brendan?
happened this episode?
Yeah, what the hell, Brendan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lie.
Give us some downtime. Let me
You
pick up my damn
lie.
clothes, Brendan.
You sit on the throne of lies.
I have to go back to Guarden and
I threw a thing out last time, and like, oh wait, no, that has that again.
Why you doing
another
this
thing
to
that
us,
has
Brendan?
ramifications.
Good job.
hold off on that
This
elephant
is all
just a
just
little
from-
bit. Like 2 days. Come on, 2
I was
days.
just curious, and then you
Haku
gave
is-
us this whole thing.
Yeah.
Haku is expressing
Yeah,
his,
right.
dislike.
I mean, I guess it's better than it being there and you not asking about it, and then it just creeping up on us, and then we're like,
Yeah.
"Crap, what's happening?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
that's
true.
Yeah.
So
We learned about it at least, so there's time.
me just flashing back, I was like, the horrors of our other campaign, where we learned about seromorphosis the bad way.
Yeah.
We still don't know what it's called. We just know that this guy exploded into an
We just
elephant.
know
Crap.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was bad.
Well, are we just gonna bunk down for the night then?
I suppose. Unless anyone needs any more
Fucking
food. And then she
exhausted,
points to the
honestly.
leftovers she brought.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll take food.
Food is
I
always
will
welcome.
take food. Mhm.
We have a party of people who like food.
Yay.
Of food.
I did something right today.
Let's take a quick break here. Quick, unless someone needs to like go and actually order food or make food. Because
Yeah.
otherwise it'd be a quick, maybe 10 minutes or
More
so
to drink, but
Cool.
stretch,
So break time.
etc. drink refilling and such.
Yeah, refill your drinks, chat.
Yes. This is at least worth. If something's going on in this city involving, I'd like to know about it.
Of course, I shall follow their lead.
Yeah.
But for now, I know thou wishes to have thy spell time.
Spell time?
She's just like,
Well, what-
she doesn't really know.
That's a phrase.
She's like, that's.
Is that what they're calling it now?
He wants to go alone into the bedroom.
Not how modern slang works.
Put out some incense. What do you think?
It's gonna take me like 10 minutes.
Specifically, that one's called, fuck.
It's a weird name for an island. Fuck.
Fuck it, I said it.
really don't want to go there.
Now. It's Fuck Island.
It's either the best or the worst island in the archipelago.
So named.
It's definitely not a mediocre experience, though.
So named because everybody who goes there says, fuck, this is a terrible place.
That's actually their slogan. Fuck, this is a terrible place.
Yeah, it's what their tourism bureau tells people. Yeah, so as you're going by Fuck Island, you hear some crows saying, yeah, the people on Fuck Island are fighting each other again.
I don't suppose the crows recognize any cult symbols?
Nah, no cults there. Just 3 different groups of people with very strong ideas about what to do.
Just a bunch of fuckers, really.
Yeah, basically.
So these fuckers want to raise taxes.
Only some of the horrible things going on are cult things. The rest are just regular terrible people.
Just double checking.
That's fair.
Because, I kind of want to know who our neighbors are, but that'll be on that goes on to the to-do list.
All right. Yeah. I will. Let me come up with some quick faction names for you while we're sailing.
The factions that we can get to fight each other harder.
Sure. They're already in a turf war. You can't start one amongst them.
Okay, so our goal is to stop the turf war. Got it.
We need to unite the fuckers against a common foe.
Common fuckery.
Friends, Romans, fuckers.
Under the banner of common fuckery.
Oh, I'm so glad we named it Fuck Island. Oh,
I thought I didn't have enough caffeine for this, but apparently I do.
I'm just gonna go ahead and start another Google Doc real quick for Fuck Island. 'Cause I think we're gonna see more of it in the future. Alrighty. So yeah, you pass by Fuck Island. The fuckers are fighting the fuckers are fighting the shitters again.
Fuck you all. I might be crying. I'm laughing so hard.
You're gonna have to give me a second. Okay.
Fucking same.
If we conquer it and then eventually trade it away in a business deal, we could give somebody a fuck. Or if we refuse to do it, we would not give a fuck.
Fuck you!
Look at all the I have to give. Yeah. Okay.
If the shitters are involved, I don't want to give. I don't want to take any shit.
I think I'm just dead, guys. I'm sorry.
Their main factions are now canonically the fuckers, the shitters, and the dammers. The fuckers really want to fuck shit up. The shitters just the shitters are big on the idea of public infrastructure, specifically for sewage, and the dammers are really, really big on building dams for some reason.
They're a big fan of beavers.
Yeah, big fan of beavers. They're beaver people. Yes.
So it's ultimately a conflict about public infrastructure planning.
It's ultimately a conflict about public infrastructure of two people who have very strong ideas on two groups of people who have very strong ideas about what the main form of public infrastructure should be and what their focus should be, versus one other group of people who just really, really want to fuck shit up.
I just thought like the fuckers were just like really into just making it a very island brothel.
Fuck.
This is starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book.
Almost.
It's really all just really about the type of whorehouse they want.
Well, we'll work on it. I'll write something for Fuck Island. Do not fear.
You're
the
welcome.
main takeaway for now: beaver people are now canon for ULEA. They will all speak in Newfie accents. All of them. All right. So yeah, Fuck Island. That is now.
Some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this.
And I'm gonna inflict wound.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna do inflict. Whoops. Come back.
Inflict whoops.
Whoops. Inflict whoops. As if I
so-
made a terrible mistake.
Zafar shouts from his pedestal at the far end. Get a move on! I'm getting bored up here.
Is he talking to us or the slugs?
You guys.
I mean, why isn't he shouting at the slugs then? They're not doing anything.
And they're the ones that really are moving kind of slow right now.
Finish him off already.
So as a question, when you hit him with acid, does it have to be enough to actually do damage or just any kind of acid?
Are you just gonna like throw up on him? Stomach acid?
Actually, now that you see
Oh,
I wasn't
God.
thinking that, but yeah, that would work.
Is a ready supply of acid?
I will give you that does 1 acid damage if you throw up on the slug.
Well, that's anybody.
Then wait, let me get the flame blade ready. Flame blade on, motherfuckers.
Alright. You pop a flame blade in your hands. Bauer, how do you make yourself vomit on the slug?
Oh god.
on the list of things I never thought would happen in a D&D game. My players vomiting on an enemy to kill it. Roll to hit the slug with vomit.
Yeah, it's not the tracks didn't necessarily get smaller, Fike. They just changed shape and became bipedal instead of quadrupedal.
Basted up. The bear's walking on 2 legs now.
No, it's definitely not bear
Changing-
tracks anymore. It's
Oh, it's
definitely
not bear.
No, they're
Changing the shape of his foot.
they're definitely humanoid.
Father
Brown
Fike was about to have a
Sasquatch.
conniption with
Oh,
freaking Noxus. He's about to be like, "You fucking idiot! It's still a fucking bear."
That's how we couldn't find
It's a
Sasquatch.
tricky bear. It found shoes. It put shoes on. This is where it sat. And put on shoes. And it was a struggle with the laces.
This is what happened to the last traveler. It fell for a trap.
It wore its last traveler's skin.
Oh God!
I don't know how big that would be, but I assume it's
And that was
still-
when God carried the bear.
Yeah.
God, for the love of Cord, stop.
Oh my god.
All right, we know that there are 1,000,001 bear puns out there. Let's try.
And I could, you know what,
bear
guys,
it
I'm barely holding myself together right now.
Let's turn Persona 4 very quickly.
Oh, God. This is just unbearable.
Yeah, that pun was unbearable.
All right, everybody get them out of their system.
Commit this grisly murder.
All right. Anyway,
We're good. We're good.
all right, that's where we're gonna call it tonight.
What is this other book that you speak of? And she sort of closes the book in Dwarvish, and she kind of sits up a little bit and sits back, sort of in that centered watery area, and with a lot more dexterity than you would expect, actually slips the Dwarvish book into the bag of holding, and then flips open the butter churning milkmaid, flipping through it sort of page by page.
She was very accurate in how she described it.
She was. You're not wrong.
And you can see after a moment she just stops.
Bellis is doing his absolute best to keep a completely straight face.
Yeah.
Maria is keeping a straight face.
Elisa's trying so hard not to laugh.
Bellis has high charisma. I think he's good, but it's
or
never.
not just not react.
You could always just.
Right. There's nothing.
I'm just going.
She like. She turns like one page, and she's like reading through it.
She
She
kind
kind
of
of.
good parts.
Well, she flipped through a bunch of it. She stops, and she turns her head to sort of like regard you and look at you. And then she looks back to the book.
Oh, we just gave the dragon a bodice buster.
And she looks back to you. I have lived for almost 1,000 years. I have seen the ending of the world and the birth of a new one, and in all that time, I have never experienced anything like this.
Something we don't have in common.
She sort of like leans down, looks at all of you like a little bit closer, and like, do you little people create much of this?
Have you heard of the great word archive of our own?
It is perhaps more common than it should be. But
Yep.
Hold on,
Varying degrees of quality, but
as with all things.
it seemed like something that perhaps, as you said, you have not had the opportunity to experience.
She sort of nods her head and slides into the bag of holding with the other book.
And thus ends the saga of the return of Milkmaid. 30 fucking sessions.
Oh my god.
We gave it to a dragon.
Okay, this is probably the worst use of an insight check ever, but does she seem to like it?
Actually, yeah, I
actually.
Make an insight check.
Yeah.
I need to know this. I need to know.
Oh no, you guys.
Hey,
that's I know, I'm like, I want to roll too, but that's
14!
15!
20. 20.
20 for insight on the dragon liking the smut.
Okay. All right. Go into the Whispers channel because it's Whispers
D&D Beyond.
I thought very carefully, by the way, about how weary I should describe the smut.
Yeah.
She wanted to be 100% accurate, but also, positive about this document book.
The dragon's just putting in the name of like her high school's crush as opposed to the Lord in this book. The dragon creates the first fanfic.
I want you to bring me more.
Cortana just starts writing fanfic. Full on dragon age.
Eventually becomes a world-renowned smut writer.
Oh god, she finds it later in a different life, and like, what
There we go.
Well, I had fun.
I don't know. It seems like a rather unsatisfying finish, don't you think?
I don't know.
Thou
I'm
have
pretty
heard such a
satisfied.
thing many times. He set himself up for that fucker.
Elias just falls out of his chair.
This one quickly reaches out to catch him.
Just can't see anything.
Yeah, so I mean, we can play. We just can't.
Do...
Let's
so
just hope nothing
there you go.
happens.
Can do that for the moment.
We are aware of a technical issue affecting the site, and we are currently working on a fix. We will keep you updated. Sorry for the inconvenience. As of 40 seconds ago.
Good to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we got
don't
this.
refresh,
Anytime,
or
don't
you're gonna
refresh.
be in me and Kia's boat.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to
Yeah,
do my
right.
thing. Damn it. Oh well. Well, this is how we are for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Reap.
But we can still play with just not see people.
I'll be half.
People.
I'll be half my screen again. That's okay.
Sorry.
Is
I didn't know
that
it was going to be stupid.
It's okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can, even without sort of like breaking the fourth wall, say I had not prepped any combats or any sort of things that would require really needing a map.
Yay!
Because my intention very much was on that first part of the show title.
Yeah.
We're all panicking, okay? It's just a panic and run situation.
We want to save
Yeah.
Leah's mom, damn it.
It's okay.
Okay.
Leah's relaxing by the lake.
Yes. So I, to sort of circle back around, was there anything that anyone wanted to do before y'all go to bed?
Yes.
Leah already went to bed.
Or go to bed?
Okay.
Staring at Aiden.
Let's say I think the only other pressing thing Elias had was tomorrow morning. He was probably gonna go meditate with.
Yeah.
Suhi.
Name.
Oh,
Suhi,
Suhi,
thank you.
yeah,
Like,
right,
but not. Yeah, that's
That's tomorrow.
nothing before bedtime. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I think since Wiria's attempt to reach the river dancer failed, she's just like, well, bed, I guess.
Yeah.
Velas really was just trying to think if there was anything else he could remember that could be useful. It just kind of failed, so also bad.
A lot of bad memories. But
we're just kind of
none of them
staring at
useful.
Aiden while people were eating before sleep. But
Cortanis getting Aiden to spill his guts.
you're right. But Leah's not here, so. Damn it, Leah. Wake up.
Sorry. It's okay. It occurred to me, I was like, on break, I was like, so my DM just told me that my character fell asleep while meditating by the river. Did he just give me permission to fall asleep on stream? Awesome. So if I fall asleep, it's okay.
It's fine.
You're just meditating.
Yeah.
You're just meditating.
Yeah.
This is fine.
I'm going to the bathroom quick before we get too into this.
Okay.
They're just suddenly realizing, not sure where, like, do I set down a bedroll? Do I go to the, like, feels weird, like, just leaning up against the door again.
Yeah. You can sleep in a bed like
It's really weird. Like, how many beds are in this thing? Because we got Keegan now, too, so.
Well,
He
they
doesn't
definitely
usually lay
have,
down. He usually just sleeps sitting up.
they have
Yeah, it's
Keegan capable beds. Like,
That's
even
true,
though, even
Egan.
though, like,
Yeah.
this was meant for, like, the elven guests that came to visit,
Mhm.
but knowing that Keegan is here, they had brought in a large frame, sturdy, like,
Furball.
Now he feels
Yeah, holy shit, they're
obligated to
beds.
use the bed. He doesn't prefer to use beds,
there
but now he feels
are,
obligated.
there are enough beds for everybody, but it's because like there's this, it's sort of set up as like basically like a furball version of Airbnb, kind of thing.
Fear and bold.
So there are additional rooms, and it looks like they had brought in an extra bed or two and kind of pushed some things out of the way in order to make space for all of the beds. But everyone's got their own bed.
Mhm.
Everything is very, very comfortably appointed and upholstered.
Well, feels weird, yeah. I feel like, yeah, Katana's be just looking that over and being like, oh. And just kind of finding a bed for the first time in a while that wasn't just because she was completely exhausted.
Um,
I'm staring at the ceiling
Keegan's
for a
just
bit.
going to sit on the bed and sleep sitting up on the bed. He doesn't typically lay down, but he feels obligated to use it because they brought it in.
Right.
She'll be writing for
You
a
have
bit,
like
too.
your glaive like resting across your knees, and you're just holding it like asleep.
Yep. Yep.
Like it's just writing, occasionally looking over at Egan with a smirk. Like I had 2 days
So
worth
I
of
can
sleep.
load Roll20, but it won't let me launch the game.
Yeah, same here. I just see the weird,
Huh.
like, basically like, you know, when it only half loads something and it's just random text on the side.
It's okay, we
Who
can hear you.
knows?
So.
Yep.
All good.
We sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perchance to dream.
Perchance.
Oh, not.
After a lot of writing.
Yes. No, dreams definitely come to some of you, but they're regular dreams, nothing invaded by deities or such. For most of you, at least. But for one of you,
Oh!
I'll wait till John gets back.
Damn you, John!
Damn it! Ah, of course.
For one of you. Wait.
Wait for it. Hold! Hold!
For once, it's not Elias.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if that's the case then, while we're waiting, if Egan's just kind of like sitting up and...
Kristen's back!
Yep.
Yeah, Kristen's back. And, well, Katana's writing and look over at Egan. So what have you been doing all this time? It hath been quite a while, Egan.
Where'd my dice go?
Frankly, it's kind of a lot to explain, and I'm not entirely sure I want to put it all into words, but in short, my Mother has a way of getting what she wants. It was quite hard to let her know.
I'll find it later.
Yeah, the moment he says like it's a lot and I don't want to talk about right now is just like that slight cringe. Like, I see.
Yeah.
I shall not press then.
Nothing against you. It's just
No,
it's a lot.
I understand.
I'm glad to be back. I have wanted to come back for quite some time.
It is good to see you again. And get some rest.
And you alive too. I'm quite happy to see you alive.
As am I. And just kind of lean back and fall asleep. Probably staring at this ceiling for a bit.
Standing?
I was on the bed, but
Oh, okay. All right.
I was writing.
Okay. So, Aiden, you're thinking back to the chessboard, trying to parse out its meaning. You're kind of like visualizing it in your head as you're falling asleep. Only to be looking at it again, definitely in a lucid dream state. You can see the White Queen that you placed, remnants of some ash where the Black Bishop was, and you hear the sort of those very distinctive clicking boot steps as coming into and you get the sense that this isn't just completely blank for space, but rather it's more like it's like a dimly lit version of the cottage, and you're kind of standing above the table looking at it, and you can hear those footsteps kind of come back from the door, and you can see the military uniform, the sharply coiffed and shaven version of yourself that he likes to wear. So, interesting thing. It's a lot easier to communicate with your subconscious than it is to communicate with you.
Ain't that the truth?
But I think that once I'm complete, I might know a little bit more of who I am and be a little bit less, and sort of like he kind of like goes like super expressionless, motionless face, and like in this like hollow voice, sort of reminiscent of the Raven Queen. Meaningless signs and importance. And a lot more, conversation, negotiation.
You certainly seem to be sounding a lot more agreeable than the last time we spoke.
Yeah, well, there's a lot less going on now than there was before. I mean, like, the Raven Queen and all. I wasn't too keen on making myself known as much as I could.
Then what the hell was the point of all that? Because it seemed like you made yourself pretty well known to me.
To you, yes. But it had to be brief. Otherwise, she may have noticed.
I think she did anyway.
He doesn't look particularly comfortable with that, but yeah, well, we've got other things to worry about right now than, some goddess of death paying too much attention to us.
Sure, that was the problem. anyway, you decided to fuck with me, and I took away your favorite toy, so we're even.
Yeah, well. So, and he kind of like looks down at the board. It did say north, and it was definitely north and west, but there's still one more piece.
What was north and west?
So he sort of like kind of summons the sword, sort of it looks like the sword, but it just ends.
Mm-hmm.
All the
I was
rest of
trying to
me.
remember.
Yeah. No, when you did the legend lore, talking to the witch in Port Damali.
Oh, Hazel. Yep.
Hazel. Witch Hazel. But there were, I mean, she was right to the north and to the west, but there's also to the west and to the, much more north and west. Both pieces.
So
You
there's
found
one
one.
by Gordon, is what you're saying.
Bingo. I told you, find the last piece, and both of our interests will be resolved.
Will it though? Because finding the last piece isn't resolving my interest.
Well, it's what we discussed early on.
Yeah, and my half of that is nowhere near being resolved.
You get me the last piece, and I grant you the power to take your brother back. Yeah.
Well, it seemed like that was more of a progressive thing.
There's been progression.
Sure.
I mean, I don't necessarily have awareness too far beyond what you're aware of. That's kind of the whole thing with being bound up in this blade is, as opposed to being some deity behind the divine gate or whatever. But I do remember a lot more about what I was.
Yeah. Remember anything about Illithid?
Oh, I do. They were favorite play toy of one of my kind. They aren't around as much anymore. At least not here on the surface. There are some that remain, meant to help the remaining Daokir who are seeing through whatever plans you're put into place. You've already eliminated one. Although, to be fair, they were pretty weak at that point. And raining fire from the sky is usually pretty effective. But Kaizen wasn't the type to really make too much employ. But over time, that's why he needed to bring in outside resources and help from some of the others. And that's where you saw some of those other Illithid coming in. Most of them are in the Underdark. At least those that were created. Some have come from beyond. I don't know where. Probably wherever we came from.
And
I
what
don't
about
remember.
how they propagate?
Oh yes, that neat little trick. Yeah, so you've seen a bit of it. Back in they sort of nest for a while, kind of feeding. Yeah, nasty business. He sort of like looks at you for a little bit. Ah, right. The Furbolg, she's got one.
Well, this isn't just about the Furbolg. Call it preparation. So it falls into our deal.
I can see that. I mean, I certainly want you prepared as much as you can be. No use in sending you unprepared into danger. I mean, I certainly don't want to fall into their hands. I can only imagine what they would do to the person that they consider to be a traitor to their kind. So, yeah, no. Again, it's hazy. Ask again later.
Well, fortunately, I'm not too concerned about that at the moment.
So, Illithid, probably the most insidious aspect of them is they are schemers. They are patient. They live long lives and are capable of long-term planning. They're intelligent, but they're also self-serving. Kaizen's creations, as best as you could consider them, were generally mindless. Typical of his type. But not so with the Elephant. While they're certainly not the creation of Belshalar, Belshalar does make use of them.
He
They're
seems like
similar.
the type who would think that he can control them.
Yeah. They were the creation of the Delkir long ago. But they've grown independent and willful. They pay lip service to their masters of old, but they set their own agendas. I don't know if what you've encountered are some that are exercising their own agenda, or if they're under the direction of one of the Delkir.
Regardless, is there a way to remove what they've implanted in someone?
It can be removed by an illithid readily enough. Those parasites, tadpoles, the seeds have value. And they are not wasted on anyone. So there's that. If you could convince an illithid to remove one, it could. by communicating with it. But they're dormant until they're awakened. So, kind of looks at you again, almost listening for a moment. You could bring her to the Illithid, but they may sense it and awaken it. And then it's only a matter of time.
Right.
Alternatively,
Any Illithid can awaken it.
if they know that it's there. And I mean, you know, they've got that whole mind thing going on. They're probably going to pick up on it pretty easily once they're, you know, close enough to it. But I mean, I might even say, and he sort of holds out a band of leather inscribed with all kinds of runes. Looks like the one that you pulled off of Leela's mom's. This isn't just a Illithid make.
I know that.
This is Dilkir magic influence. The sort of mind warping, mind breaking kind of stuff. And
So you're saying my brother is in direct contact with one of these?
I'm saying it's highly likely. I mean, I see what you see. I learn what you learn.
Yeah.
And I know that Illithid eschew magic like this. But those Illithid were real dead set on grabbing her once this thing came off.
So does that mean they were trying to get her back under control, or they wanted her for their own reasons?
Well, I mean, Kaizen was out of resources, out of options. Drained and Shepherd dry for everything that she could give him. I mean, you saw the forces that you went up against. That was all they could muster. He was tapped.
Are you saying we missed a chance?
No, I'm saying that he was sacrificed. He was in a weakened position. And the others made their move, made their play, and let him be taken. They were done providing him with resources, with help.
So I kind of just tapped a board by the ashes of the bishop.
Mm-hmm. Kaizen, Belshalar points to the Black Rook, and then he points over to the Black Knight, Olothra.
So then who's the king?
That's the darkness behind them all. There is doom. I don't remember where it came from. but I do know who I came from. That is the master to whom the Delkir answer to.
He's not on our list, is he?
No. I'm mostly just worried, and he kind of like looks down at the knight and the rook.
Fair enough.
That's a tall order. You're going to need a lot more than just all the pieces of me. I mean, gods tried. Most they could do is just lock him away.
Just checking.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I know you're not too concerned about my well-being, but I'm kind of concerned about yours because, you know, they're kind of interrelated. So
Yes.
Stick to the Delkir for now. You can go hunting gods later.
That's good enough for me. I'm assuming this is us then, the White Queen. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's a metaphor, so.
Yeah. Don't want to read into it too much, right?
Right. I figured you get it, but
A god's a piece on the board.
again, metaphor.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, anything having to do with the gods, you can't quite. You start asking questions, and things, the story starts, falling apart a little bit. So sometimes you just got to take things on faith, right?
Don't talk to me about faith. Not after the past
Hey, last time we did that, it worked out really well.
Oh, fine. We're going hunting. Should be getting to Gordon soon. We got a date with those guys eventually, anyway.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. That's what I was meant to do. Kind of looks down at those two pieces on the board again. One down, two to go.
Where
Well,
was... We never actually saw Kaizen.
Oh, you saw him. You walked on him.
Oh.
Good to know.
Oh.
What?
Ew.
I don't remember.
The flesh.
The flesh
terrain.
carpet.
The flesh
Our
carpet.
flesh carpet.
Okay, that's kind of what I was wondering. But that's lovely.
So essentially, the tree.
The tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like somebody else did the work for us, son.
Well, I mean, when you're playing a game and he starts like taking off pieces and you start losing pieces, your options become limited. And then he just like out of nowhere tosses a whole bunch more white pieces on the board. But if your opponent starts pulling in something that you didn't expect, you may not win. The game's not fair. It's rigged. You know that.
Yeah.
You just always, and he like, has like pulls a white, another white rook out of his sleeve. Sometimes it's best to
Use the pieces at your disposal.
make sure that all the pieces at your disposal aren't necessarily in plain view of your enemy. You've been getting some attention.
Well, I
Tread
did
carefully.
kind of present myself in front of a tire armory, so.
That you did. But they're all dead. So, I mean...
Sucks to be them.
And we're not.
But...
Not for lack of trying.
No, they did try. I was a little worried there. But, you know. It helps to have friends and allies.
Yeah.
I guess.
You might want to remember that.
Yeah.
Tell us your
I don't know
secrets.
how I feel about thinking of them as pieces. Metaphor. Don't read into it.
If you're not looking down at the board, trying to figure out where the pieces are, then you're just one of them, getting moved by somebody else. You either play the game,
True,
or you lose the game.
or you get sacrificed on somebody else's way to win the game.
Yeah, that's why you got to make sure that you've got enough powers that. Yeah, okay. This metaphor is just. Yeah. He just sort of like waves his hand, and the chessboard just kind of. Like, okay, yeah, no, it's, we pushed that about as far as it can go.
Might be trying a little too hard.
But nah. Keep her away from any illithid. I mean, I wouldn't, want something like that in me too long.
Yeah.
But she's safe for now. But yeah, she should be all right as long as there aren't any illithid and anywhere nearby. I don't think they're going to be coming.
I don't think any are going to get in here.
Not anytime soon. But I mean, sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I don't think you're looking at a time clock though.
Okay.
He like looks over his shoulder and like. Not sure what that was, but
a puppy with
It's Hegan.
opinions,
It's
apparently.
Hegan snoring.
Oh my god, yes.
Yes, Hegan has a super high pitched snore.
no, the thing with your mom. Don't blame me for that.
Don't blame you for it happening, or don't blame you for rubbing it in my face.
I didn't show it to you.
Yeah, that was kind of the whole thing I was trying to get to during that first part of the conversation here. If you didn't, who did?
I mean, I figured it was kind of obvious. And he like takes that like really formal, stiffened pose.
Sounds like the two of you are just passing the blame game. I'm going to bed.
He shrugs. You kind of behind you hear his footsteps fading.
Not the worst conversation, Pat.
It's a little sad.
It's just a bit before dawn when you wake up, Elias. Sort of naturally, you got rest, but you were sort of anxious. You wanted to wake up early. Interestingly enough, there's no real such thing as you can't set an alarm on your phone.
Yeah.
But you wake up early, anxious, knowing that you wanted to be up early. You wanted to go meet with Suhi. And it seems that anxiousness paid off, and you're awake early. Really early, it's still dark. And you're like, for just that moment, it's sort of like a flashback, like, ah, shit, Shadow fell. No. No, you do hear early morning bird song off a ways. Occasional snore.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a very long time, Cortonis isn't perched, leaning up against the door. You can see her sleeping in a bed across the way. Peaceful.
I assume we can hit the long rest button officially.
Yes, long rest official.
Yay!
Yay!
Okay.
I say yay, but I lost HP.
Yeah, because we lost the
same.
Yeah. All right. I guess Elias will drag himself out of bed after a moment of just enjoy. A moment of. Okay, I really should get up. Like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not a morning person, it's hard to.
Yeah. And I don't think he is.
You don't necessarily have to be.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna be fucking surprised to get up for the morning routine and see Elias not there.
Oh yeah.
That's new.
But you quietly shuffle your way out, and similar to before, you might even be here earlier than before. It is still and quiet. You don't see anyone up and about. But you see Suhi. You can see in the central area in the glade with the tree off to the side at the small shrine to the Everlight. You can see her setting out a number of implements, sort of candle and kind of like lighting some incense. And when she sees you approach, she kind of smiles, welcomes you, beckons you over.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yep. Sorry, I'm usually not up this early.
While I usually get up before the rest of home to manage and to perform these duties, it's because I appreciate the quiet, the stillness, and the darkness. Feels comfortable.
Yeah.
But pre-dawn worship is not one of the Everlight's tenets, so don't feel obligated.
Obligated.
But I appreciate that you're here.
Figured I'd give it a try.
She kind of goes on to talk a little bit, explain some of the little of what she knows. It's mostly been through oral tradition and history passed down, just because there isn't a whole lot of written documentation. It's more about there aren't a lot of formal rituals that she performs. They're almost things that were taught to her, and she kind of puts her own kind of spin on them. But Sarah and Ray is about community, healing, about bringing a light to those who find themselves in dark. And sometimes it's those who walk through darkness. And have kindled the light in themselves. Best understand what that means. Have that light.
Yeah.
She only has a few snippets of, say, prayer that were passed down. But for her, most of her worship is done through her actions. Teaching, bringing up other people in a community with compassion, healing those who are ill. She doesn't have many rituals that she can kind of teach to you. But she's more than happy to let you observe what she does. And if you like, if you care to, you can follow along.
Yeah, like kind of observe a bit and kind
Okay.
of follow, you know, we start to follow along with some of.
Right.
This is all very different from what Elias is used to.
Yeah, so what Elias was taught very formal ritual. A lot of the rituals involved with the Raven Queen often dealt with preparation of the dead, a lot of funeral rites, and everything is sort of like around that. For her, sort of mostly what she amounts to doing is lighting a small candle, burning some incense, and sitting in quiet contemplation, and welcoming the morning, welcoming the day, welcoming strangers, and it's not exactly like sitting and doing, yoga poses like greet the sun or something. But it's very rustic.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do other than just sort of I copy her? Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
what is going through your mind.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I mean, I think his plan was to just kind of like meditate a bit, just kind of, I don't know, like we've exhausted most other options in regards to, there's someone I very much want to help, and I don't know what to do. And I don't know. My brain is not.
Brain isn't quite there to
Brain isn't quite
summon.
there. Yeah.
I can completely understand. It's okay.
Honestly, the thing I keeps popping into my head is like that God Help the Outcasts scene in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Right.
That's sort of like
You're not wishing for something for yourself, but
self,
something
yeah,
for
like I'm
to
not
help other people.
100% sure you're actually listening, but
Right.
It's funny you mention it because that song was in my head out of nowhere the other day.
So you sit thinking on your experiences in Vesselheim. It is the holy city, the cradle of civilization, the bastion against the darkness, where all people of all these different faiths have these temples to these deities, to where gods have walked the earth there. But and as respected as the Raven Queen is for her role and what she does, there's always a bit of a standoffishness and a sort of like, you can be over there. But generally, most of the followers of the Raven Queen were never really people who were out for themselves. Maybe a couple of people that were a little like into it a little too much.
Yeah.
Like they were really into the whole like they had a morbid fascination with things.
Super goth.
Yeah.
You're like, not sure that's healthy.
Right. But nothing of the sometimes greed and avarice that you encountered on your travels. And you vaguely heard of Sarah and Ray.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like you don't even know if there's a temple in Vasselheim.
More I know Sarah and Ray is a deity that exists.
Right.
Or existed. That's about it.
Right. So it's in this sort of, you just have this kind of constant refrain almost in your head, maybe of a song or a hymn that you heard. And you're kind of like just looking down, at your very empty wrist. and a bit of sort of almost like a flash of light kind of catches your eye, and you can see the position of this shrine and of the foliage around means that when the sun rises in the east, as it clears the mountains and the hills beyond the forest, you can see that there's almost some foliage that has been carefully, not pruned, but maybe encouraged to clear away, so that the first rays of morning sun actually shine and hit a small sort of bit of it's kind of like a bit of clear quartz that's just kind of carved into a vague shape of a pair of wings that's kind of set in the wood of the shrine. And first thing in the morning, at least this time of year, it catches the light. And you can see as the sun begins to rise for a few moments, the pale, somewhat translucent quartz of these wings almost look like they're glowing. Sort of this bright, effusive golden light. And you can see in a few spots where the quartz is actually almost clear and translucent, it casts little snippets of rainbows. You can see for just a few moments as that brief window passes. And then the light dims again. You can still see it's still lit, but just that moment kind of came and passed. For a second, you could see the place. At this point, it's almost like a little red from maybe rubbing it so much on your wrist, where you used to have that bracelet. It was just awash in a reflection of that rainbow of light before it kind of dims again. You can kind of see Suhi, her head is still bowed, and she's sort of just kind of gently clasping her hands in her lap as she's. You can see her lips moving somewhat, like she's kind of like voicelessly saying something, but you're not quite sure what it might be. Still quiet. And then you can hear a voice, a furbolg, someone calling out to someone else in greeting. You don't understand what they're saying, but you can definitely recognize sort of brassy, bold, loud tone of the furbolg as it seems home is waking up.
Out of curiosity, does any of this feel at all like that time in the Shadowfell when he shook off the despair effect?
A little bit. Like dawn breaking after a dark night. Sort of that sense of renewed hope. That it's a new day. And that there's new possibilities.
It's gonna kind of quietly just be like, I don't know if you were the one who helped me back there, but I'm kind of starting to think maybe you had it. I don't know. Well, either way, use some help again. Even a hint. Just look, I'm just really trying to avoid contacting a creepy drow family as an absolute.
It continues.
At least
Please.
Thanks.
I mean, I think we're on the right track, but I don't know. It's been a very confusing few days.
You hear a soft voice to your side. You recognize it. It's Shepherd. You can see her kind of standing a little bit at a distance. She's kind of like, it looks like she might have been standing up from kneeling, or maybe from like squirreling.
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 It has been a strange few days.
Yep. How are you feeling?
She sort of like looks at the sunlight streaming in from the trees, kind of shining down on the three of you now. Warm. I have not felt warmth in a long time. It is good to be home.
Yeah. I bet.
It is good to be out of the shadows.
Yes. On that, we definitely agree.
The light suits you. She kind of like looks at you, nods a bit. I'm hungry. She kind of turns and wanders off, sniffing. Moment.
Okay.
Leah, you wake up and your mom is gone.
I mean, am I still by the water?
Yeah.
Oh wait, right. Hold on. Leah, no, you wake up.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Warrior is gone.
Right.
And it's surprisingly late
I'm
out.
like, oh no.
Yes, and it is dawn, and there's a small note left by Wuria.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she'll make her way back to Neverpenny.
There's a note left by your mother. Your father's out cold. She says, I'm hungry. That's all it says. Just, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Shepherd has
Leah
a
has
very
a
one-track
brief
mind
moment
in
of
the
worry
morning.
of, He hasn't gone to eat brains, I hope.
Oh God.
Oh no.
She's only half joking to herself.
Yeah.
It's that time of the night.
I feel like Velas is also probably up fairly early since he doesn't sleep much. Not really doing anything important, just kind of honestly just wandering around home and still trying to get used to this sunlight thing.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aw.
It's
Kadanus
fair.
woke up
Sunlight-
as normal,
Sunday's
yeah.
hard.
Went
Yeah.
through the usual motions, and if Aiden is up early enough, she might ask him if he wants to practice.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Hath been a while, but I did say when we returned home, and I was not in the right mindset this past several days.
That's fair.
Apologies.
I don't know how much time we would have had for it anyway.
Exactly.
So little fourth wall breaking, out of character metagaming. I had fully intended on all of you exploring all of this, just not necessarily finding out as quickly as you did, so that it would kind of work. So I didn't want everyone to like suddenly like, we have to act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been working on backpedaling that a little bit. In that, it is not
Urgent.
comparatively important for it to be urgent, because just from a game standpoint, we need a bit of a break in between
Yes.
one
Yeah.
thing that's tense and the next thing
Intense
that's tense.
thing, yeah.
Intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So
We need to
I've
resupply
been-
anyway, so.
Yeah, resupply, recollect, like, it's there, back of everyone's mind, but it's I had not intended it to be really like a urgent thing, and some of the I may have been a little bit too subtle in some of that last time I
Yeah.
explained stuff, so yeah.
I feel like it's more like we're just the kind of group that once we get an idea of like, okay, this is what we have to do, let's do it right fucking now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We're like,
I
oh
was
no,
trying
everything is intense. Oh no, we're fine.
I
Like,
think
we
it,
can't- You're so used to trauma that if you're not feeling like there's a crisis, you start feeling.
Oh shit, we're
weird and,
Steven
like,
from Steven Universe Future! Shit! Oh, everything is a crisis.
Yes.
Yeah, at least give me.
That is-
Let me
That
get
is, that
through.
is good to know because, like I said, I was like, our other campaign, our experience with this type of thing went really badly, and we didn't even know it existed until, he
It did.
exploded into a mind flayer.
Yeah.
What? Like, it was like, yeah, you finally rescued this dude. He looks a little sick. Like, next day, explosion mind flare.
Yeah,
What?
fuck. Yeah, a little
So
knowledge
it's
there.
good to know that I'm like, okay,
There's
so
time.
she's not gonna like wake up tomorrow and be a mind flayer. Good.
Yes, good.
Because my brain is just like, but this went so badly last time.
It's okay. Different situation.
Yes, for me out of game, that is a good thing to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think like with the characters in this game, they're all pretty inclined to just go like, okay, we're dealing with it now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. It's
A little
us.
bit. We have some fucking downtime. Use it.
Yes.
Reset. Talk. Get shit. Get shit.
Right.
Well, and I feel
might
like
have an
the
agenda.
lack of direct answers is at least effectively stalling us in our
Yeah.
charging out because we're like, yeah, but we don't know where to go.
That's true. We have an idea.
Right.
I mean, other than maybe Gordon.
Yeah, maybe Gordon. But we know at least like what a trip that is, and to prep here before we go out to that.
I am getting sleepy. This
I can tell.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I may actually have to say I've.
Crashed early tonight.
Yeah, I've got a headache and my Excedrin is not working as fast as I was hoping.
Sympathy.
Much
Long
sympathy.
distance hugs.
Socially distant hugging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of it.
I mean, it's not even 8:30 for me, so I'm totally good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
I'm.
Yeah, like normally it's just like physically hard for me to keep my eyes open. So
Yeah, no, I mean, if you've got
Yeah,
a...
no, we understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally okay.
I've been there.
So, I mean, I guess granted, like, Gordon, the state of Gordon is sort of unknown. But,
Hey, isn't there this thing like scrying you could do? Just saying. We could find out.
I actually did not even touch my spells yet.
Oh,
See if
yeah.
I need
I'm
to
just
change
like,
those up.
if we know that something's up but we don't know what, I'm like, there are actually ways to figure that
Do
out.
we
That's
have
true.
someone who's capable of scrying?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes, I mean if I prepare it, yes.
Yeah, that's what. That's
okay.
why I was saying it. I was like,
There you
oh,
go.
why
Oh,
would
you
they
can
be
cast
able to?
spells now?
Well,
Well, I mean, he
actually,
sent a
well,
bunch
that
of times.
depends. Well, yeah,
we
that's 'cause
figured out you could do
pulled
sending
the
with a copper wire.
We pulled the
that's
copper
true.
wire from a thieves kit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I forgot about that.
Scrying.
I don't think I have a focus worth at least 1,000 gold.
Oh.
Yeah, finding one of those in home might not be.
It says a crystal ball is such a focus worth at least 1,000 gold, such as a crystal ball, a silver mirror, or a font filled with water.
A font filled with what?
Holy water.
Holy
That
water.
maybe
I
from
was like, we got,
somewhere, I don't
we got
know.
lots of water. I mean,
Maybe from the Great Tree in home. Or the-
might be able to. That's why I was there. I was like, might be able to find a pool that is,
Yeah, holy water in home, maybe. There you go.
It's...
Hey, Suri, you got any scrying shit?
Yeah, right.
No, Siri.
Scrying shit.
I guess that'd be no, not Stu.
Siri really wants in on our game tonight. No.
Yeah, right. Well, I can search around for that and see if
yeah.
pool or
So,
something like that would.
Yeah, totally safe, non-threatening, time-bound downtime.
Yeah, once that information is actually conveyed in character.
Yes.
we'll figure out a way to.
I think
So
right now
basically,
everyone's
Aiden,
still
tell
slightly in
us.
panic mode.
It's like, guess who's the one who has that information?
Yeah, right?
Right. Like,
The one who doesn't talk ever.
Yeah.
In fairness, that's not talking about himself, so he might be more
Maybe.
willing to convey it.
It's Aiden.
Dodged another week.
God damn it! Someday.
It's not like I don't want to tell.
I know. I was like, you should see him when we're not playing. He's like, I'm excited for D&D. And then D&D comes and Aiden's like, and I'm like,
Fucking hell.
You gotta earn it.
context for the next session would be, it's the next morning. Everyone gathers together over breakfast and brings together, like, okay, I picked up this, I learned this, I had this conversation. And so you can kind of figure out where to go and what to do from there. But with the number of folks drifting, or yeah, this would be a...
Can't play before Saturday.
We could.
I mean, I can. I'm not doing literally anything.
What am I? I'm off Wednesday and Thursday. So I
Thursday
would be
would
late
be.
Saturday.
It would have to be Wednesday night for me.
I'm free whenever, but
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
am also free literally anytime.
I mean, I could also,
I can guarantee that we're not going to get stuck in like a long 3-hour, combat against a huge army.
Hey.
It's mostly just talking about some stuff. At least for now.
I'm figuring out downtime if we do it.
Right.
we can also play
Kind
on
of
Saturday.
discussed.
Like, it's fine.
yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
Question.
I'll
Maybe.
be late.
I'll be late on Saturday too.
Yeah. I don't know what my weekend plans are next week, but
We
I
don't
asked.
have May dates up yet. I don't think.
Yeah, I had traded.
do that now.
Are we still on stream? Or are we off stream?
Oh, I can stop stream if we're doing that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
We'll figure it out.
game
Yeah,
is,
next
game is
time,
wrapped up.
anyone.
And
And
we'll,
go.
I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice roller. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice roller. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice order. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice order. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me.